Hello, fellow Hydronians. I guess that would be the proper term. I'm not sure. Anyway, Hydronites. I've seen a few phrases out there. Anyway, let's take a look at using Hydra's brand new bridge to add some liquidity to our pool. So let's get started. I'm brand new to this. I've never in my life done any liquidity mining or provided liquidity. I've only ever done staking, to be honest. I went through the process last night just to make sure I understood it correctly. I did find a few things out that I'll pass along, so hopefully it helps you out. So I'm going to get started with, I guess we probably should look at what pairs we have available right now to provide the liquidity for the. Well, let's take a look at the guide that JC was kind enough to post last night. So if you don't have your Chrome extension wallet, you need to download the wallet, and he's provided a link here. I've already installed the Chrome wallet, so we won't go through that process, but you should have your Hydra wallet there available. There are three eligible pairs for this initial round of liquidity mining. That's the Hydra BTC, the Hydra ETH, and the Hydra DAI. So we need to provide equal dollar amounts of each of those. So if I provide $500 worth of BTC or Wrapped BTC, we need to provide $500 worth of Hydra. So if you are wanting to put in $1,000 worth of liquidity, you need to make sure you split that between the two assets. If you don't have any Hydra, you need to buy some. And because people are already providing liquidity, you can get your BTC, ETH, and DAI on the DEX if you prefer to do it there. I'm not going to do it on the DEX. I'm going to do it on Kucoin so that you can see how that process works. Then you need to use the bridge to wrap BTC, ETH, or DAI and get it onto the Hydra chain. So it basically becomes a Hydra address, and then you can add those two assets to the liquidity pool. So we'll go through that process. So I've got a little bit of Matic that has kind of been static. So I'm gonna sell that. So we'll go through that process here. So I have 218 Matic, it looks like. So I am going to sell that. I am going to do a limit order. I don't like doing market. Sometimes I will usually click on this number here, just the first green one, or you can pick on the mean. That's currently what it's trading at as a mean. So I'm just going to click on the mean. Okay, that was weird. I'm not sure why it wasn't working, but I had to go to market, then back to limit, and then I can click on this number and it will update it down here. So it's just a quick way to get that number in there. Make sure you don't type in anything missing a zero or something like that. So you can click on any of these numbers, and that's what your limit sell order is going to be. If you want it to sell quick, you can click on this first red one, and that's basically saying I'm going to sell, for that ask there. But we're going to go for the mean here, and I'm going to do 100%. I'm just going to get rid of all that Matic, and I'm going to click on the sell button, and we see the order filled pretty much instantaneously because we were selling basically at market without doing a market order. So I have that asset. I also have some Terra, and by the way, I am going to BTC because I'm doing the Wrapped BTC. I'm providing BTC liquidity. If you were going to provide ETH or DAI, you would want to try to find a pair that goes direct to obviously reduce the fees that it's going to take. So I don't have a direct Terra to BTC pair, I would have to go to ETH and then ETH to Wrapped BTC, which is fine. So we can go through that. So I'll do this. I don't have very much of this. I've only got like 2,000, which is like $100 worth or something, less than $100 worth. So I'm gonna click on our mean here again. I'm gonna do 100%, and I'm gonna sell the Terra. And this time it didn't sell 100% instantly. We see that some of it's filled, 17,000 of it filled of the 20,000, and it's slowly filling. That's where market orders can come in, but obviously some of it would sell less, and for me it's easier to track how much I sold it for, because if I do a limit order, I know all of it sold for that price, and I don't have to go in and do the math and figure out what the average was when you do a market sell. It's kind of a pain, because part of it might sell for one price, and then another part for another price, and it could be 5, 6, 7 transactions there with different prices, and then you got to figure out what your mean was. So I prefer to do it this way. Just me, but you can market sell, but if the pair you're working with doesn't have a lot of activity going on, I don't have a whole lot, so it wouldn't have moved the price that much. But if you're selling a lot, you probably should focus on the limit orders. Otherwise, you could move the price. Just be patient; it'll all sell eventually. Might not sell instantly, but it's going to sell over time. And if it doesn't, you can always cancel the order and move your price down, and you'll eventually get it sold. But that affects the market a lot less. So this one's dropping on me. I may not get that last little bit sold. See, we're bouncing around at 1621, 1623, 1620. Or see that price action is in there, so I know that the price is dropping. This mean is probably going to change here in a minute. Okay, I finally filled. The price came back up, got that last little bit. So we're good to go there. So if I go into my assets in my trading account. Okay, so in my trading account, I now see that I have the BTC and I have some ETH. Yeah, you can see my other assets, big deal. I still need to get to the Wrapped BTC. So I want to go back to my markets, or not markets. Sorry. I want to go to trade, back to spot trading, and because I have BTC, I want to find a BTC to Wrapped BTC. This one. Okay. It's like basically it's like going from stablecoin. I'm basically turning my BTC into a Wrapped BTC, so it's really not gonna cost that much. So same thing again, but this time I'm buying, so I want to buy at a limit. I'm actually gonna do a market on this one, just because it doesn't fluctuate that much. We're talking minimal amounts, so I'm going to do 100% of the BTC I have, and I'm going to buy the Wrapped BTC. So I need to do the same thing with the ETH, since the Terra didn't have a BTC pair, but there is a Wrapped BTC ETH pair, I believe. Yes, so I can go to this Wrapped BTC ETH pair, and this is a little bit different. We're trading because we're going from one thing to another, so this is, does have some fluctuation in price. So I'm gonna do I'm not doing enough to make a big difference, so I'm gonna just, to get this to go through, I'm just gonna do 100% of the ETH, and I'm just gonna do it in a market order so that it fills right away. So now if I go to my assets in my trading account, I have the Wrapped BTC. So now I want to transfer that to my main account, and I'm just going to do 100%. Just click on that number and it puts it down there, and I'll confirm that. So now basically I want to transfer that to my MetaMask. So I'm going to go to my main account, So we have our Wrapped BTC here. So I'm going to withdraw that, and I'm going to go through this process of entering in the wallet address. So remember, this is not Hydra yet, so we're going to a MetaMask address. So I'm going to go into my MetaMask here and get the address, and I want to be on the Ethereum mainnet, which in here the addresses are all the same. You're just adding the different chains, so the address doesn't change. But I'm going to copy this address, I'm going to paste it in here. The network is going to be the ERC20, the ETH network, and we're going to do the maximum amount, and I'm not going to put any remarks in here, and it's taking a quadruple 7 fee, so I'm going to confirm that I'm transferring 0.009 Wrapped BTC, and then I got to put in all this stuff. I'm going to confirm withdrawal, and I got to put in my trading password. I got to get my two-factor up here on my phone. I do that before I send the message, and I send a code to my email. So Kucoin sent me my code. I'll type in my code before my time runs out. Get the two-factor in there before it runs out, and hit submit, and then we have success. So we see that processing, and so then we should see our asset come up in our MetaMask here shortly. And don't forget, you need a little bit of ETH in your wallet to pay for the transaction fees, because these adding this liquidity from an ETH contract is going to take some ETH, and I have about $79 worth. The last time I did it, it was it's like $30. It might have been, well, I think it was $17 in ETH. So I can do a few transactions before I run out of ETH here. So we now see that the assets have come through. I have about $354 worth of Wrapped BTC. So I'm going to have to provide about $350 worth of Hydra. Probably less, because by the time we do the fees, it's probably going to be closer to $340. So I'll have a total of about $680 probably in the liquidity pool, plus what I put in there yesterday. So the next step is to get our Wrapped BTC into a Hydra pegged Wrapped BTC. So to do that, we use the brand new Hydra Bridge. So my MetaMask is already connected here, so that's good. Now the Hydra wallet's a little bit different. You have to connect your Hydra wallet first. You can't connect this button, it basically doesn't do anything, and it doesn't pop up your Chrome extension wallet. So you have to go into your Hydra wallet first and unlock it, and pick the account if you have multiple accounts, and log in. And then once you do, your wallet will connect. You'll see that your assets will come up here. So I'm going to click on this account so that I see transactions and tokens. So I added the Wrapped Hydra address from the Hydra swap. That's the HYD. Now keep in mind that there are several HYDs. So there's a contract for the ETH, there's a contract for the BTC, there's a contract for the DIA, there's a contract for multiple HYDs. So you can add that token and add that contract so you can see it. Not that you necessarily need to see it to be able to do anything with it. If you want to see it in your wallet, you have to add those contracts. And the easiest way to do that is basically to just go over here to the Hydra ETH and click on the ERC20, and then you can look at stablecoin, and here's the contract. And if you want to look at the Wrapped BTC, there's the contract for that. So if you pick up those contracts, I wish I had the copy button, but if you click on that link, and then you can go into the link up here and grab it that way, or copy it. Here is the copy button there, so that'll get it that way. So you can do it that way and then add the token, to your Hydra wallet. So I'm not going to go through all that. Just continue. So I am going to swap from ETH. So everything I have, you know, we're just, even though we're doing BTC, it's a Wrapped BTC, which puts it on the Ethereum chain. So it's an ERC20 token. So I'm going to add some liquidity for that. So to do that, I need to swap this ETH-based Wrapped BTC to a Hydra Wrapped BTC, essentially. They're calling it a Hydra pegged Wrapped BTC. So what we want to do is put in the amount of Wrapped BTC. Again, here's, you know, some functionality. I know they're getting ready to redo this whole interface, but they don't have a way of you know, clicking max and putting this number in the field here. So I'm going to highlight this, Control C it, put it in here, and Control V it rather than typing it. And it's wanting to know what address to use. So I'm going to just click use my Hydra address. I'm not sure why it's saying exceeded maximum amount. I'll just type it in here again. Maybe it's a rounding issue, so I'm going to just drop it down one, and then I'm going to click continue, and you will be prompted to sign several transactions, and I'm going to click confirm, and we see MetaMask popping up telling me it's going to cost $14.65, and the gas fee was $16, so the total is about 30 bucks. I'll confirm that, and this takes a while. It's here, it cranks for a little bit. So be patient, don't refresh the screen or any crazy thing like that. Just let it do its thing. It's swapping, doing contracts, waiting for confirmations. By the way, you'd also need to have some Hydra available in this wallet. If you don't have any Hydra, it's not going to work. You're going to get an error message. So you need to have enough Hydra in this wallet that you're swapping your Wrapped BTC from to pay for the gas fees, the transaction fees, because once it completes the Ethereum wrapping part, it does the Hydra wrapping part. So make sure you have enough Hydra. Yeah, I put 50 in here yesterday. This is the same wallet I'm gonna, you know, be matching my Wrapped BTC from, so that Hydra will also be what I use to, you know, balance the two pairs. Now I'm doing BTC for really no particular reason other than it was, at the time, it was the pair with the least amount of liquidity provided. So in my mind, I'm gonna own a little bit more of that pool, which in turn should have a higher APR, which in turn should give me a higher return. Now, I may have more in permanent loss, but I don't know. I've never done this before, so we'll find out. Seems like everybody else, or a lot more people, are doing the ETH and the stablecoin DIA, and maybe it's because of the impermanent loss, but actually ETH looks like it's probably got the most liquidity right now. Back to our bridge. So right now we're waiting for the observers vote. If I remember right, there were 5 observers and 1 confirmation. Something, I don't know. I'm not really clear on that yet, but I know there are some observer votes that take place. So we got 5 votes. I was right. It was 5. So now we are in the mint tokens on Hydra. So I should get a confirmation request here shortly. It should pop up the Hydra wallet and ask me to confirm a transaction. So everything finished. We see that it minted the tokens on the Hydra chain and we got success. It did not prompt me for a confirmation. I was pretty sure that it prompted me on the Hydra wallet to confirm the transaction, but it didn't do it this time. And it gets us a message here saying that these bridged assets can only be used on the Hydra ecosystem, and currently no centralized exchange supports deposit of the bridged assets. So now I should have the Hydra pegged asset here on my wallet. If I can remember my password. Okay, another little caveat. Here's what I was having issue with yesterday. Okay, so I obviously am a Hydra staker. I have my own node running, and the majority of my assets are in my staking wallet. Don't try to do any of this with your staking wallet. It's not going to work. It just doesn't work. And that is kind of good in a way, because we really shouldn't be using our node staking wallet to be doing these play around transactions. So I created a new address, new wallet, and moved some of my assets from my staking wallet to this play. I called it play, and did the transactions there. So I had put my pegged wrapped Bitcoins in my staking wallet and then tried to do the liquidity, and was getting an error message, and it just doesn't work. Even unlocking your staking wallet, turning off staking, unlocking it fully, it's just still did not work. So that's something that they're working on. I kind of like it that way, I think, but it doesn't tell you exactly why it's giving you an error message. So if you're not part of the group and reading along in the discussions, you're not going to know why it's giving you those error messages, and it gets kind of frustrating, and you may actually lose some fees, because I had tried to provide liquidity once before, and it was taking some fees to attempt the transaction, and then I was basically wasting money. So keep that in mind. Make if you're staking on a node, it doesn't matter if you're doing it on Kucoin or MEXC or something like that. Of course, you'll have to have a separate wallet. You won't be able to do it from your Kucoin wallet, obviously. But if you're staking on a node, make sure you use a completely different wallet address that's not part of your staking. That's a little caveat. So now we see that I've the 0.009028 Wrapped BTC are in my wallet. So the final step is to go to our pool. So we're going to the Hydra DEX, and default it comes up with swap, but we don't want to swap anything. We want to go to the pool, and we want to connect to wallet, and it's going to tell me to download from the Chrome store, but we already got it, so I'm just going to click off here, and we see that it's connected up here. We see our address, we see our amount of Hydra. So we are going to add liquidity. We could see that I've already got some liquidity here, so I'm going to add some more. I am going to do Hydra and Wrapped BTC. So I'm going to do the maximum amount of Wrapped BTC, and it's going to tell me that I'm going to have to provide 49.4929 Hydra, which I don't have. I've only got 31.86. So it looks like I'm going to have to pause this video and transfer over a little bit more Hydra from my staking wallet before I can complete this transaction. Do that. Okay, so I added 25 more Hydra, so now we see that I have enough, and I won't have a whole lot of extra sitting here not doing anything, so I'll have enough to pay fees, and maybe 5 Hydras sitting in here, 6, somewhere around in there. It's no big deal. So we're going to click on supply, and we're going to confirm it, and confirm, and transaction submitted, and close. And we have added some additional liquidity to the pool. It's telling me that my share of the pool is about 0.23 right now, but it has not added the other Wrapped BTC yet that I just added. So let's see what happens if I go swap and back to pool. So once my other Wrapped Hydra show up, or Wrapped BTC show up, I should have close to 70 Hydra in here, which if 0.23, that should put me into, okay, I just got a message, and the bot gave me a message, So let's see what we got here. So I'm almost at 1% of the pool with 68 Hydra and 0.0124224 Wrapped BTC. So really that's all there is to it. You know, I can remove my liquidity, I can view the fees. It's basically just taking me to the chain. I can see what all the transactions that occurred. So we're only at 2 confirmations so far for this last transaction. So if I wanted to remove my liquidity, I'd click on remove, but we're not going to do that. So that's it. We've added liquidity to the pool. Now we just need to wait and see how much we earn. Guess I'll have to do a video on that at some other point. Don't forget to like, subscribe my channel. Good luck with your liquidity mining. Let's earn some Hydra here.